Happy St. Patrick's Day, Haunted Heart Society viewers.
This won't be posted for probably months and months.
Yes,
so.
but that's okay, because we're coming at you live from not drunken shenanigans. We're coming at you from Cursed Craft shenanigans.
Yes, we have another... Well, hopefully this will be blessed crafting.
Yes, this will not be cursed.
This has been how many months in the making?
I've had this bag sitting at my front door for a long ass time.
Well, I don't know if we'll put the herb acquisition before or after this.
Oh, that was summer, wasn't it?
It was.
Oh, yeah, so, like, at least 6 months.
We're back with this project months and months later.
So, yes, if you saw the footage already, welcome! It's winter now. Or maybe spring.
Well, it's almost spring.
It's springy.
The herbs have been dried. Yes, this is everything that we went shopping for in the summer.
Flashback.
In the back of my car.
Say that again?
I said, you're gonna update as I am literally building a little nest for the plants in the back of my car like a nerd.
Yep.
I figured also this way hopefully they won't fall down. Spill everywhere.
So we bought some lavender and chamomile. Emily's gonna plant it in the garden.
And hopefully I can't kill it. If it's outside, it's a lot harder for me to actually murder.
End of flashback.
Is now ready to actually go ahead with the craft.
Did we actually talk about what we were doing then, or did we just...
Did we? I don't remember, so maybe we'll just revisit it.
We shall.
I think we did, though.
We've had this book. It is called Making Herbal Dream Pillows, and we have decided to make herbal dream pillows using the recipes found within. So honestly, it has been pretty cool. It's got lots of recipes there, and I don't know if we decided which ones we wanted to use, or if we were just going to slapdash and make ourselves.
We're gonna wing it.
Wing it. All right, wing it. Yep, so to start, for this project, you will need, if you want a copy of the book, you will need cotton fabric of whatever cat-blessed and chosen pattern you so desire. We've got some cool spacey ones and some cool spooky ones.
I probably should have picked mine out before sitting down.
Possibly, but that's okay.
But also, all my fabric is underneath the craft table over
Yes.
here.
We wanted to find out how much the size. I wanted the size. A 5 by 12 inch scrap of fabric. So 5 inches by 12 inches. Cotton. We got polyester, so fiber fill. Scissors. Thread.
Yes.
Sewing needles. And a variety of fancy herbage. We have
a good spread here.
It does say herbs to avoid. So do not use Artemisia except for mugwort, bay or bay leaves, fixatives, so cellulose and orris root, oils of any kind because they will probably leak through and damage things, Russian tarragon, sage, and tansy. I might have grabbed some sage, so we will make sure not to put it in, just because we had some.
Well, what if you wanted to make a nightmare pillow?
Ooh, then that would be cursed crafting.
We'd be getting back to the curses, yes.
And sage, so sage can create a haunting feeling in dreams. However, garden sage blossoms and clary sage blossoms can be used in small amounts in dream blends. So, if you want to curse someone, use sage. And tansy, which can cause violent and terrifying nightmares and also produce headaches upon waking. So, do not use those.
If you don't love somebody.
Yes. If you want to get back at that ex who betrayed you.
Though I do still have the potato. I mean, the pose doll.
Yes.
The potato.
I called it potato this morning, too.
It's on my bookshelf. Nothing has befallen me yet.
No, my cat hasn't tried to murder me in my sleep yet either. Touch wood. So,
the guitar is made out of wood.
The concept that you want to choose is that you basically pick a chunk of fabric that is pretty, that you like, that fits your theme. You cut it 5 by 12, and then eventually you're going to fold it in half. Stitch up 2 sides, and it says launder and dry the cloth, but...
That should have been done already.
Too late, so too bad, so sad. You're going to turn it right side out and fill it up a little bit to make a little kind of pocket. Add a half a cup of the blend of herbs that you want to use. I don't think either one of us has a half a cup of herbs here. And then put more fiber fill on top, and then you're just going to fold over your edges and sew it up. So, honestly, the instructions are very simple.
Yeah, we're just making a bag with stuff in it.
Yep. And then you're going to put it inside your pillowcase and sleep on it. Presumably, the concept is that as you roll around on it, it will release fragrant herbage fumes during the night and give you good dreams, supposedly. Then the book goes on to give you lots of different options, but like we said, we're just gonna wing it.
Yeah, I don't think we necessarily need to make a whole 6-inch long thing either.
No, probably not.
We also don't have anything here to measure with.
No. I can tell you that this is 3 inches. You want to know how I know that?
How do you know that?
I measure foam at the fabric store a lot by going, that's a 3-incher. So I know for a fact that my finger is exactly 3 inches deep.
Okay. Well, you need 2 of those.
I need 2 of those, yes. No. 5 by 12, so I need 4 of those.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But when you fold it in half.
When you fold it in half, it's going to be that big.
It'll be that size.
Okay, well, do you want to dig around in the bucket and find fabric, or do you want to use one of the ones that Cat blessed?
I will use some of my own fabric since I've got a bazillion of it. So I guess I could probably just cut off these, like, pieces here, and that will be plenty. And I don't think that the exact measurement particularly matters.
No, just
TBH.
measure with your heart.
You will have something of a size
It's like cooking.
when you're done. Like, yeah.
Just measure as much as, feels good to you. Ooh. Thank you. Perfect. Mine's a little long, but it's fine.
They're pretty close.
Ta-da!
Uh-oh, someone's coming.
Hello, are you here to participate in girl math with us? Oh, come here. Oh. All the kitty cats. Off you go. Alright, well, let's get to sewing.
Yeah.
Oh, and I guess, okay, so if the benefit is you could probably just sew 1, 2, and then most of 3. And then you'll only have a little pocket to sew left once you flip it inside out.
You could do that. Yes.
Otherwise, you have to sew, flip, and then you have to sew the whole top. But
this will be the tedious part.
Yep.
The fun part will be picking the herbs. Oh, look, I even have orange thread.
Aha, nice. Oh, you got blue. Perfect.
If we were using a sewing machine, we could do this in about 2 minutes.
I think part of it is the tediousness of doing it by hand. At the needlework, what's the word I'm looking for? Workshop I took at, where was it? Coco.
Mm-hmm.
2 years ago, 3 years ago.
That
They
was
taught
2 years ago.
2 years ago. They taught us this crazy trick where you just pinch the thread, like you fold it over a little bit, and you pinch it, and then just shove the needle between your thumb and your forefinger, and it somehow threads it. And to this day, I still don't understand how they did it.
Well, I'm gonna do the not witchcraft way
I lost my end.
and make a perfectly.
Oh, you don't double your thread.
I didn't. No, just because I didn't feel like it.
So what was the not witchcraft?
Just normal. Just shove it through and struggle.
I had people asking me on TikTok how I made, like, knots, which was kind of weird, in the sense that I was like, oh, it's just like second nature. But I do where I wrap it around the needle a couple times and then pull it down.
Oh, no, I didn't do that either. I wrapped it around my finger.
Oh, yeah, some people, I can't do that, I struggle. Tying off the thread at the end of your line is like another thing people struggle with that I didn't know people had a hard time with. I was gonna say, what type of sewing stitch are you using?
Just a normal, boring, uneven chaos. I should not be sewing things because I don't like doing it, and I cut corners and don't follow directions, and then things don't turn out right kind of stitch.
Sure. I'm so used to just
Yeah, don't stab me. I'm trying to make the stitches small because you're gonna need them to be pretty tight so your stuff doesn't fall out.
Yeah, you don't want your herbs to pop out. I'm just trying to think if I should use a back stitch or if I should.
I was just about to say a back stitch would probably work the best for this.
Yeah. My other thought was a blanket stitch, but then I'm like, time waste.
I'm switching to back stitching. We're gonna be here a while.
Yep.
Is there anything you would like to chit chat about?
We want to devote an entire episode to the vampires from Twilight or gargoyles theory, right?
Oh yeah.
Because well, like, would this be a good time to start that process, or do we want to have like an entire dedication?
We could have a discussion about it.
We could. All right. Do you want to introduce the theory because it is your theory?
Okay, my theory, yes. So, Emily S.W. and I think, well, I know, last year rewatched the Twilight movies.
Which are terrible, but awesome at the same time.
No,
so bad.
They're
so bad. But it's nostalgic bad.
Well, it was the first time I think I'd watched them and actually paid attention.
Okay.
Because technically the first time I saw it was on a bus heading to New York City, and it was a school trip, and someone put it on, and of course when you're on a bus on a school trip and someone puts something on the TV in front of the seats, everyone has to watch the same thing. And I was listening to my CD player and didn't actually pay any attention, and the parts of it that I did see were pretty dumb. And I think I started off trying to watch it, but I just got so bored that I gave up.
And this, so I guess actually this is an interesting combination we've got, because I was admittedly a teenage twihard. I loved Twilight.
No, one of my friends in high school, literally, because she really loved them.
Okay.
She handed me the stack of books and said, "Read this."
Mm-hmm.
It was not an option.
Did you read them?
I did read them.
Okay.
Was I entertained while reading them? Yeah. But that was also the time, like, they were super popular, and it was more like, what's the big deal about these books kind of thing.
Yeah. I definitely was like, I was in so deep, I was like screaming Team Edward from the rooftops, like, deep. That's how bad that was.
So the thing is, rewatching it not many, but years later, as a person with a fully formed brain, and having, taken a lot more educational classes about, like, literary analysis and stuff. Because I did take an English class at university.
Just one.
Yeah, I dropped creative writing because my schedule was just, like, 4 back-to-back classes, and I was so stressed out that I couldn't even, like, do the first assignment. And I still feel really bad about dropping it because that was, like, one of the classes there was a waiting list for. Well, I mean, someone else theoretically got in.
And then they got in,
but, like, I just was so stressed that semester. I just like, I can't do it. And I didn't need that class at all for anything.
Yeah. Oh, it wasn't even like a credit, just fill in English credit class.
No, it was just gonna be, I want to write stuff, so let's take creative writing. And yeah, sometimes I still feel really guilty about it. But anyway, that has nothing to do with Twilight.
Okay.
When Emily and I rewatched the movies, we, basically, when Emily and I watch things, we just critique them.
As is the way.
Which may be a toxic trait that apparently I can't watch a movie in my own house without talking over it. But we'd also already seen them, and more or less. And Emily also has discussed they have a fair amount of literary analysis training.
I want to watch Damsel with y'all because
I already watched that.
Okay, I want to watch it all together though, because
Colleen and I watched it last night.
Greg and I watched it and gave it a solid 6 out of 10. Like,
I would agree. Here was my thought. The sets were gorgeous.
Yes, costumes.
The costumes were gorgeous.
Loved them.
The premise was really cool. However, the dialogue was excessively expositional, expositionary. There was excessive exposition in the dialogue, and it basically assumed that the audience couldn't figure out anything on their own.
Yeah, I definitely was.
The dialogue was also like the most like stereotypical fairy tale.
A little stilted.
Yeah, there's nothing that in that movie that, I mean, aside from like, oh well, the damsel in distress saves the day and saves herself, but otherwise everything was just your typical fairy tale storybook, from the dialogue to everyone's role in the story, aside from the main character, right?
Yeah.
And also, I don't think they did a good job making us sympathize with the dragon, which is clearly what they wanted.
Yeah.
But they kept showing the dragon killing animals.
Yeah, I was like, not the horse. Not the poor
We
horsey.
could have spared the horse. And Colleen pointed out the scene with the birds was supposed to be symbolic of all the girls being thrown in. So, like, I understand that, but we could have spared the horse. Like, I was thinking, oh, the dragon will see that she's not on the horse anymore and go back looking for her or something.
What I was trying to figure out, it was like the whole time, I was like, does the dragon have bad eyesight or not? Does the dragon have good hearing or not? Like, it was not consistent.
That's something Dan pointed out too, where it's like, oh, how come the dragon can hear a petal falling an entire cave away but can't hear them talking?
Right, like, just, yeah, I was like, it was very inconsistent. But yeah, at the end, Greg and I were both sitting there, because we watched it like 2 nights ago, both sitting there, and you know, it's like, man, if she kills the dragon, it's going to be the wrong lesson. I was like, I just want to have like a good for her moment, and then I was like, yeah, good for them.
Yeah, I was glad you can tell we were supposed to sympathize with the dragon, but I don't think they did a good job of it.
Yeah.
They didn't make the dragon sympathetic enough, because they showed the dragon doing enough horrible, bad things that when you found out about the little baby dragons and stuff, you're like, well, that's sad, but
you've also...
the dragon is still, like, really bad.
And my other thought that was kind of annoying was, like, she's like, oh, your father, and I'm like, could you not smell
that? Yes.
Like,
this was another critique I had. So there were so many hints that the dragon should have seen that this was a deceit.
Yeah, something
First
going
of
wrong.
all, she evidently did not notice that none of the girls thrown into the chasm, who were supposed to be sisters, resembled
or like
each other.
Descendants in some way.
They should have resembled each other. Like, if the three,
oh, I forgot, because yeah, it was supposed to be the 3 daughters, all of them
at a time should have looked alike.
Should have looked. Yeah, that makes sense. They should have looked alike in some way.
She should have been able to smell their blood anytime they started bleeding, because just putting someone's cut on your hand it's going to leave a smear of blood. It's not like injecting them into your bloodstream and changing
unless there was some kind of magical spell there. But how would they have figured that out? That wasn't deep
for all
enough.
the exposition. They didn't show us doing that.
And besides the fact that if your dad was right there pouring blood onto the floor, wouldn't you go, you smell kind of like him, and he doesn't smell royal?
Yeah, she should have known, first of all, the fact she should have been able to smell he wasn't one of that royal family, and also he wasn't honoring the agreement suddenly for some reason.
And but specifically, like, she has an entire conversation with this guy, and is like, oh yeah, your dad, cool, and was not sus in any way, shape, or form about this guy not fitting the lineup, like,
so
big plot hole.
Again, I think they were supposed to make us, like, they were supposed to give us a serious moment of gravitas, like, oh no, this man has died. But again, that still took away the sympathy for the dragon. Because that was, like, our only really kind of, it was supposed to be heart-wrenching death.
Oh yes, my poor daddy died, yes, but
then they kept undermining how we were supposed to feel for the dragon.
Still though, 6 out of 10. Like, it had a good premise.
Yeah.
It definitely could have done more, but yeah, the costuming.
It was just, like, this is how I feel about every new movie that I've seen in the past couple years. Like, they have such good ideas. They have really good premises. They have a strong, like, theme. And always, you can tell there's a big budget poured into the setting, the costumes, like, the effects. But the writing seems to be lacking.
Yeah. I was also kind of sitting there going, like, how is it that anyone knows anything about, like, I'm like, how do you know about this cave? How do you know so much? How did this map exist? I was very much like...
someone was like, what, someone escaped the cave and then went back and drew the map?
And then drew the map, yeah. Like, when she got to the top of the crystals, and
so
it was just like...
it was, I guess you could infer that, oh, well, maybe she then went back to that safe spot and finished the map. But then also we saw her body there at the top of the crystal.
Yeah, so, like, did she shout it down to one of the others? Did they live long enough together? Yeah, riddled with plot holes. But it was a fun ride.
And then Colleen noticed that her burn at the end switched sides.
Yeah, Greg pointed that out, too. And we went back, like, 5 times, and it's like... That was a big error.
We got to the end, and I said, so what I learned from this movie is that revenge is okay. That was the moral of the story. Is if you're wronged just enough, then it is okay to exact your revenge. Which is, I feel like, the exact opposite of every, moral story until this year, right? Morality is out the window. Now it's just all about
good for her.
Turning tropes, girl power, even at the expense of your moral compass.
Midsommar was a lot like that too. I liked Midsommar.
That was a horror movie, though.
Yeah, well, movie was so good.
The horror has its own
its entire own set of rules.
Yes.
Horror
movie is not about necessarily teaching you life lessons.
And fairy tales are 100%. I actually have been telling my students a lot because we've John Klassen produced a version of The Skull, which is an old Tyrolean fairy tale. A Tyrolean fairy tale. Tyrol actually is a small section in Austria that I didn't even know was like its own jurisdiction until I've come across this book. And the book is chock full of just dramatically dry wit. Absolutely obsessed. The main character, Ottila, runs away from home. Like, one night, in the middle of the night, when everyone was asleep, Ottila finally ran away. That's how the book opens. The kids are all like, why? We don't know. You never find out. But she runs away from home.
And you just don't find out.
You don't find out. This book is full of unanswered questions, which I actually really like.
Okay.
So John Klassen and Mac Barnett both do that, where they write, a lot of their stories are just they have lots of unanswered questions. You can make up your own answers, which I like. So she finally runs away from home, and she chomps through the woods for hours and hours, and everyone's searching for her, and she hears their name, calling her name, and, eventually she makes it to this big old house, and she tries to open the door and finds that it's locked, and when she hears a voice calling down to her, and it's a skull up in the window, and the skull's like, well, hey, I'll let you in if you promise to carry me around, because I'm just a skull, and rolling around is hard for me. She goes, all right.
That tracks.
And the skull rolls down the door and it opens, lets her in. And then they start a tour of the house, and, they go to the foyer and the fireplace room, and she goes, oh, is that you in the painting? It used to be. And it's just full of all this kind of humor. And eventually it's like, oh, that's the bottomless pit. Like, oh, was there anybody down here in the dungeon? There, not anymore. And everything is just, all right. And that's like the whole book. It's hysterical. And eventually, she comes along, and there's a headless skeleton that comes to the house every night and tries to capture the skull, and the skull doesn't want to be caught, and Ottila doesn't want to be found, so they're basically like, yeah, we got this. And she just cold-blooded smashes the skeleton to tiny little pieces and shoves him off a tower. Cold-blooded, this kid. Absolutely love this. And then, they live happily ever after, right? Fairy tales. We're talking about this about fairy tales.
We were talking about Twilight, actually.
Yes, so we'll come back around. Narrative conventions. So the concept of it is that she, and then she just lives as a skull happily ever after. And in his author's note, he writes about how he was in Alaska to do a presentation and found the book, a copy of the fairy tale, The Skull, in a book of old fairy tales, and reads it, and then a year later thought about it again, and then went, wow, that was not the story I remembered. And I went and I tracked down the original fairy tale, because I was like, I wonder what the story was like. He tells a little bit about it, but I wanted to read it. And of course, it is a fairy tale all about You know, the little girl's father gets remarried after her mother dies, and she, you know, speaks in anger to her stepmother and runs away, and has, you know, meets, you know, goes to the castle and meets the skull, and the skull basically is like, you have to be brave, and if you, you know, do this way, good things will come. And so the whole concept is about being brave and not shirking and not speaking to other people in anger, and, you know, you learn all these lessons. And while I'm talking to my kids about this fairy tale, I'm telling them about, like, oh, gee, Cinderella was not the way Disney is. Oh, gee, Little Red Riding Hood was supposed to teach you not to go out into the woods and talk to strangers and stray from the path and listen to your parents.
Yeah, that's how you get lost.
That's how you get lost, and that's how you get eaten by wolves. And so, like, you know, teaching my students that, like, fairy tales, the whole point of fairy tales was that they were morality plays. They were lessons. They were teaching you to obey and do the right thing and behave the right way. And they're always, like, flabbergasted because they, A, are just so used to the sanitized Disney versions, and B, don't realize that the whole point of stories is that they're morality plays, they're lessons. Like, they're so used to Bluey, well, not Bluey, but Bluey's actually really awesome. Bluey is, like, parenting lessons. But they're so used to, like, Cocomelon and Peppa Pig and just mindless nonsense that is devoid of all meaning.
Yeah, so on the subject of devoid of all meaning, Twilight.
So back to Twilight, yes, thank God. Bring it back around.
What I was trying to say is when you're older and you can pick apart things a little better.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, the most fun part of watching any piece of media is just ripping it to shreds. But I don't remember exactly where I came to this conclusion. It might have been after reading something online. But, because in the movie, when they show the vampires being killed, first of all, only vampires can kill vampires.
Only their teeth are strong enough, and only their bodies are strong enough to rip them apart.
It is already a huge problem with the universe. Because basically, if the vampires didn't self-govern, humanity would be totally screwed.
Yeah. Oh, well, the Quileute tribe can also kill the vampires, but they're very, very isolated into the one area.
Well, yeah, like...
Oh, and the werewolves, though.
They're not actually werewolves.
No, the Quileutes are not werewolves. The Quileute tribe are shapeshifters, but there are actual werewolves that are also, because they're like, oh, the children of the moon are our actual enemies as well. So there are real werewolves.
However, do they ever get introduced? Are they
they are never canon.
Important?
They're never
mentioned. Are they
mentioned.
ever a thing?
No.
So irrelevant. If it's not in the text, we have to go by what it says,
yes.
Right? Because we can't read Meyer's mind.
No, but in context, the only three things in the world that can kill vampires in her world are other vampires, real werewolves, and the Quileute tribe. We know that they exist. They are mentioned or they are seen on camera doing it.
So again, if vampires didn't self-govern, humanity would be screwed.
Yep.
But when we see the vampires dying, they're like shattering like a ceramic bowl.
That'll be important in a minute.
Yeah. She describes them as being
pale white and ice
cold. Well, I mean that's normal, but it's the rock hard, and really hard skin,
and the glittery,
right? And then like the sparkling, which everyone had a big problem with, and Emily and I discussed why it's a problem in one of our gothic chit chats about vampires. Which again, because it strips the vampire myth of its morality. The whole purpose of the vampire burning up in the sunlight is because it's basically a punishment from God.
I was gonna say they're unclean and they're demonic and they're terrible.
Well, the sun is literally like
God's light.
Figuratively and literally God, right?
Yes.
So, but anyway, so this led me to a very important conclusion, which was that Stephanie Meyer's vampires are not vampires at all. They are stone gargoyle people who happen to be very confused. And the sparkling in the sunlight is because they're made out of stone, so they're full of, like you said, quartz
deposits
and minerals that reflect sunlight.
Because, you know, like when you were a kid and you used to break open the quartz rocks in your driveway and they'd have, like, sparkly facets and things.
Yeah. So, not vampires.
Not vampires, but gargoyles. Yeah. Or something of the nature.
Well, the gargoyle itself is really just a spout that's meant to funnel water off the roof of your Gothic cathedral. The actual, like, dragon sculptures and stuff are called something else. A lot of them also functioned as spouts, which is why we associate them together.
Oh, okay.
But
well, they are confused stone statue people.
Correct.
And that is the prevailing theory in our household.
That is the only acceptable explanation.
So, points in favor of this theory, as part of the Twilight sewer posting group, it has been brought to my attention in the short second life of Brie Tanner, the little novella that came out sometime during the pre-Twilight Renaissance, which is somehow the timeline that we are living in right now.
So everything from the 2000s is popular then.
Yeah. Oh God, even the clothes. Don't bring back low-rise jeans, please. So, the short second life of Brie Tanner being the novella that takes place during the vampire army building time frame during the third book, Eclipse. It has been brought to our attention that when vampires are deciding to mash faces, it sounds like ceramic bowls clinking together. Clink, 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 clink. So, point one in favor of the we are in fact confused stone people argument. Which really, seriously, very confusing. I actually also just recently over the summer and into the, maybe it wasn't the summer, I very recently also listened to, what do you call it? Midnight Sun.
Oh, yes.
And there was quite a lot of prevalence for the theory in Midnight Sun that made me very much convinced and buy into this. Can I think of any of these details right now? Of course not. But it was just like listening to Edward's brain, the whole concept of them being utterly indestructible, because when you look back at, you know, some of the other common vampire canon, like if we think about Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire, like, of course, if Lestat had a bucket full of glitter to dunk himself in, we know he would, because that's Lestat. Yeah. But, you know, tell me Lestat wouldn't want to glitter if he had the opportunity. But they were by no means, like, indestructible. Yes, they were inhumanely fast.
If you really think about it, traditional vampires actually have a lot of weaknesses.
Yes.
They are really not that difficult to kill. Especially because, like, Victorian literature shows them sleeping during the day.
Yep.
Like, Carmilla, they took out no problem because she was literally asleep. So you already, even Van Helsing, destroyed Dracula's brides by going into the castle and beheading them during the daytime.
Because, you know, anything is like you have a weakness. These guys have no freaking weaknesses.
So, yeah, a vampire cannot live without a head. It cannot live without a heart. It is vulnerable to daylight. Dracula did not burn up in the sun, and neither did Carmilla. But they're weak.
They were weakened by the sun.
sunlight.
I think if I'm remembering correctly, something that kind of made me think about it is that, I don't know if it was ever mentioned in any other vampire lore or canon whether or not they could eat food or, like, come into contact with human food. But Edward, of course, at one point in the first book makes, like, Bella's, like, basically like, oh, you can't eat human food. He's like, I can. It just isn't the best.
I think that, like, it would be possible, and this was going back to my theory that blood kind of, like, tricks the body into thinking it's alive. They would be able to eat, but it wouldn't, like, give them really any nutrients.
Yeah, well, he can't actually digest it. He has to throw it back up later.
Because he's a stone person
yes.
with a rock digestive system. He doesn't actually have organs.
Yeah, because then the question is, like, oh, so then when they drink blood, like, where exactly is it going?
You would still have to filter waste, and a vampire would still need to use a bathroom.
Well,
they don't just, like, absorb the blood and then it's gone.
I was going to say, I feel like that's very specifically mentioned, because I've read Interview with the Vampire, that was very specifically mentioned during Louis' transformation process, that his human body is, like, when his human body is dying, it's like, just throwing out everything, because it's never going to happen again. So, I don't recall if that's, I mean, but then again, you know, how many times do people talk about going to the bathroom or in movies or in books or movies? Like, it's never mentioned.
They don't. Because no one likes to think about that. But, that blood would have to go somewhere.
It has to go somewhere. So
If otherwise they'd be able to drink once and never have to consume blood again because they'd just be cycling the same blood through their body all the time.
I think there's something to be said about. I think they say something like along the lines of they're venomous too, which is also like, what? Although the vampire, how does a vampire change happen in any other canon? So that's an interesting question. The venom essentially breaks down everything. Like
it turns them to stone.
But it breaks down the blood. Like the venom is what it breaks down the blood eventually. Bella talks about feeling very sloshy. Like she actually feels sloshy
because she's got a stone body that's just full of liquid.
Yes,
it's just sloshing around like water in a cup.
Yeah. So that's like what I'm saying. Like where does it go? The venom must break it down after a while because it can't go anywhere.
This also goes back to is a vampire a mammal?
It is a vampire mammal. Yes, viewers, what do you think is a vampire mammal? Okay, I have a bag. This is where I kind of want to take out a chicken and go, behold, a man. I'm getting real ancient Grecian here. Diogenes.
Well, anyway,
Diogenes?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Oh, the biped, there's a gag about, like, a non-feathered biped, something, how does one define a man? It was this whole big argument in like, ancient Greek philosophy, and basically they were like, how do you define what a man is? And basically, like, an unfeathered biped, and someone came in with a plucked chicken. Behold, a man!
Oh, okay.
Like,
anyway, I guess since vampires aren't actually real, you can make them whatever they want. However, Stephanie Meyer's did not write about vampires.
No, Stephanie Meyer doesn't even know what she wrote about. Again, we critique her a lot in the sewer. Like the Renesmee actually, I'm sorry, we call her everything, but Ron Konkama, Random House Audio was my favorite. I call her Random House Audio a good bit. Literally anything that starts with R. I don't think anyone actually spelled her name out in that group. Very funny. Here we go. Yeah.
But also, I learned there's a lot of blood-based cuisine in the world.
Blood pudding, black sausage.
Yeah, I also learned in northern Norway something that the Sami people would make.
Ooh.
Because, with the belief that you should use all of an animal if you're going to butcher it.
Yep.
Right? So they would make basically pancakes with reindeer blood.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's something they did. And you can, I guess, get them in Norway and Sweden.
Oh, wonderful.
And then I learned about the Russian blood candy. And then there's blood soups.
That doesn't. Yeah, I've definitely heard of blood soup.
So being a vampire, especially in Europe, I don't
Actually
think
would have been
would be that difficult.
Super. Barely an inconvenience.
Yeah.
Nowadays,
not
anyway.
that bad. Also, you can go to the Asian market and just buy styrofoam cups of beef and pork blood.
So yeah, barely an inconvenience. Okay. All right.
Let's move on with the craft.
On that note, well, now that we're done sewing, which actually I told you it wasn't going to take 2 hours.
No, it
took 20 minutes.
All
right. So we have a little pocket.
We're stuffing it part way
with
the filling.
Stuff it part way with some fiber fill. Usually, what you do is that you take out a big handful and you like pull it apart, and then so it's fluffier. I didn't stuff mine very thick. I just kind of stuffed it. I wanted to get it all in the corners. But yeah, you just stuff it way down deep in there. Fun story. Because I'm chronically on TikTok. Somebody is posting a theory, like all different things that Stephanie Meyer wrote about, and one of the ones was angels. And I thought that was kind of funny. So, because she's a Mormon, and wrote that they are, because like the description of the angels in Mormonism. So I thought that was really funny, and he had some good theories about that.
All I think about is my philosophy professor who one day in class said, I don't know what the correct religion is, but I know that Mormonism isn't it. This man was a former Mormon.
I mean, I definitely have watched the Book of Mormon, which is probably not a correct, it is not correct, but it is certainly funny, and the gags that get thrown around about Mormonism, and I'm like, if that is even 3/4 of the way true, yeah, what? What, Mormonism?
We're not here to bash anyone's beliefs.
No, it's very confusing, though.
It's just the opinions of my philosophy professor.
Okay, mine is very stuffed.
Alright, how's this?
Yours is squishy. I stuffed mine hard.
Well, you have to sleep on it, so you want it to be
soft. Oh,
soft.
that's true. Okay, so I'll unstuff mine a little bit. I just wanted the corners to be, like, really stuffed, but it's not gummy.
My legs are asleep.
That's why I tucked mine up, because I'm like, my legs are unconscious.
Ouch.
Alright. Why is fiberfill so annoying? I hate it.
I don't know.
I hate it, precious. Alright, better. Alright. No, now the corner's all. Ugh. Why is this so hard?
I clipped the corners so they would come out square.
I clipped mine too, and it still didn't quite do the job I wanted. Alright. I stuffed mine halfway, and now we gotta fill it up with smelly things.
Yes. So, is there any particular recipe from the book we want to use?
Alright.
Or we can find a couple different ones, see what we've got. I've got chamomile. We've got lemongrass. I have rose petals.
I have quite a bit of lavender.
And this is some of the stuff we bought previously.
Yes, there's quite a bit of lavender here. Lavender. Oops, I just dropped some, sorry. Lavender. I have also chamomile. That's what this weird little tiny hunks is. And this should be mint. I didn't grab the sage.
Oh, and I also have lemon balm in here. This is not what it is. It's lemon balm.
Okay. So, does this have like just an index of stuff? No. Alright, so the problem is it just gives us, we can look by type of dream. So for example, stress reducing, relaxing, pleasant dreams, romantic, creative, traveling, great outdoors, holiday, and prophecy.
Let's do the creative one. I'm interested in that.
Okay, so inspiring creativity. Alright, rose petals, mugwort, lavender flowers, chopped pine needles, French marigold, cinnamon, whole cloves, leather trimmings, mint.
Well, we've got rose petals, lavender leaves, not flowers.
Yep. I wish I had known about the leather because I could have brought some from Greg.
I've got cloves in my pantry.
And mint.
Mint, lemon balm is a mint. It's not really minty, but it's a mint.
And I have mint. Like, I bought a mint plant, so I've got mint.
I mean, I don't... Here's the thing. This is all either aromatherapy or witchcraft.
A little bit of both, to be honest.
So, do I think that what you put into it is necessarily...
Oh, here we go.
Essential?
Here is plants in the herbal dream calendar. So, let's read what we have.
Okay.
Alright, so we have... Lavender aids in easing headaches when you are awake, useful and relaxing blends or in combination with roses and mugwort. Combined with jasmine and roses, lavender adds warmth and familiarity to romantic mixes. Lemon balm is used to relieve depression, anxiety, insomnia, and nervous tension. This herb combines well with roses, lavender, thyme, hops, and mint. A mix of lemon balm and lavender in equal parts is useful in relieving headache and stress. Lemongrass, a native herb of tropical regions. Lemongrass adds a yep.
Just put it all in there.
A native herb of tropical regions, lemongrass adds a bit of color and soothingly safe, mildly exotic feelings to blends. Mint. A small amount of mint works like a tuning knob on a television. Adds clarity, vividness, and color to dreams. Rose. Create a feeling of loving thoughts and warmth. Used with more exotic herbs and romantic or adventurous mixes, roses keep a feeling of the dream grounded in safety and peacefulness.
I think we could probably make something pretty good with just what we've got here in front of us.
Chamomile. People who are allergic to... chamomile is used for relaxation and pleasant dreams. People who are allergic to ragweed should probably avoid using this herb in their blends as it sometimes causes similar reactions.
Well, I'm not going to be stuffing it up my nose.
I'm just reading what the book said. Alright, so we had chamomile. Cloves, if you have them in your pantry.
I do.
They add a hint of spiciness, especially when used with roses in romantic mixes, but use them sparingly. 3 or 4 cloves in a blend is plenty.
Should I get the cloves?
I don't know. Do we want to add cloves?
I'll add cloves. I'll stop the tape and then get the cloves.
Okay. I wish I had leather.
I also think it's worth pointing out a lot of this stuff is homegrown.
Yes. Ash did before I killed it. I have a notoriously black thumb.
Oh, not even a brown thumb?
No, I have a black thumb.
Okay.
If it lives outside and I can just water it daily during the summer, it tends to survive. But as soon as it is a small plant that requires some kind of care and love, I don't know. They kill themselves as opposed to living with them.
Okay. Well, I had the idea we should reuse, reduce, recycle these concert freebie bags to put the herbs in, so then if you ever wanted to change your herbs, you could just pull the whole thing out instead of having it all mixed in with the fiberfill.
Because I need to replace the fiberfill, and that's a pain in the butt.
And it's polyester and horrible for the environment. So this will be reusable forever.
Yep.
At least until the pillow falls apart. So which one would you like?
Whichever. I figured the purple matches, and then the yellow matches yours.
That's okay.
Yeah, match.
Yeah. Alright, so I definitely want to put lemon balm in mine.
I think I'm going to steal a little rose petal, and I'm going to put lavender in mine.
Because I am an insomniac zombie.
So I guess here's my question. Do I just put the whole... I'm just going to slap a whole sprig. Sprig. Oh yeah, it still smells.
I hope so. Smell is kind of the point here.
Yeah. I mean, it's not much, but it still smells.
What do you think of that? Can you smell the lemon balm?
Yes.
And I will also do a sprig of lavender.
Yeah. I'm kind of just like crunching mine a little bit just to...
What else?
I'm going to put rose petals in mine. And...
I'll do the cloves since that was supposed to be a creative one.
Oh, yeah.
Probably only need like 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Because these are whole cloves, they're pretty good.
Yes. Okay, can you put... When used with roses and romantic mixes, I think... Should I put a couple in there for roses and lavender and spicy?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I do like clove. Oh, they smell good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What else was there? Chamomile? Was that supposed to be relaxing?
Relaxation and pleasant dreams. Generally combine thyme with roses, hops, lavender, and rosemary. Like, the thing is, too, they all seem to kind of all go together. There's no, like...
Wrong way to do this?
There's no wrong way. The herb combines well. So lemon balm, roses, lavender, thyme, hops, and mint. Which means that, like, lavender, mint, roses all go together. Like, they all go together. There's no
What about the
wrong
lemongrass?
answer.
What's the lemongrass good for?
Lemongrass, a native herb of tropical regions. Lemongrass adds a bit of color and a soothingly safe, mildly exotic feeling to blends. There's really no wrong answer. I feel like you could just combine it all.
I kind of low-key want to do that.
Okay, I got a little chamomile.
Do you have the lemongrass? Well, if I just shove the whole thing in.
I was going to say that, or just cut it in small pieces. I'm going to steal a little lemon balm.
Steal as much lemon balm as you want. I am going to have to cut this, I think. Or just rip the part. Wow, you smell the lemon? No, I started.
Oh, that's
holding
amazing! Oh my god.
it.
Like, that is really
Once you start
sharp.
breaking it up, yeah, it's. That's why when you're cooking with it, you do have to kind of like crush it a little
I
bit.
pinched myself. Oh, that's beautiful. Ooh, oh god, I'm getting it everywhere. I'm sorry.
I've also determined that lemongrass is the secret to delicious curry.
Okay, so we're just gonna snip it. Sorry, I'll use my.
No, these scissors have become everything scissors. You can see, like, I had to put tape on it because the rubber handle is literally, like, disintegrating. And I was trying to cut stuff, and I was like, what is this sticky stuff all over my hands? And it was literally the rubber from the scissors.
Oh my god. I got an idea. I might just snip it directly into the bag. Wow, that is gorgeously lemon.
Oh, that smells really good with the clove underneath.
Oh, spicy. Oh my god, spicy and lemony. Okay, guys, do this. This is fun.
What else have we got?
I know you said you grabbed out some of the kitchen herbs, like the thyme.
Mm-hmm.
And
this is rosemary.
Yep.
This is thyme.
Okay, so
I believe this is parsley and this is some sort of dill.
So thyme says, I combine thyme with roses, hops, lavender, and rosemary for a peaceful, quiet dream. And rosemary says, in folklore, rosemary was used to ensure sleep and keep away bad dreams. Rosemary works well with a bit of lavender, roses, mugwort, and hops for a relaxing night's sleep without notable dreaming. So it's interesting that, like, rosemary says without notable dreaming, and thyme says peaceful, quiet dream, but you put them both in. So
For minimal, peaceful, quiet dreams.
I guess so. See, it's kind of contradictory.
I think maybe I will throw a little bit of the thyme.
I'm gonna put a little more lavender in mine, I think. I do like a lavender and lemon and
Might have to make some of these as like
gifts. Yeah. If we could find, that would be a really good time to actually buy like the big herb supply, like to go buy the big bags. So that way we can use like the lavender buds and stuff. But man, that smells lemony.
I don't think I want to use too much thyme because this is because a lot of this is homegrown, and I dried it myself, so it's quite potent.
Yeah. What I gotta figure out is how to actually grow these plants better.
Herbs are kind of hard for some reason.
Yeah. They're very finicky.
Like so the rosemary actually died in the pot, and I just pulled up the whole thing. And it was too dried out to like use
Like cooking.
What I was doing, I was putting it like in like one of those tea bag things and just putting it like in the soup and then taking it out because it is so crunchy.
Oh, yeah, if you get it in your mouth, it'd probably be like, ugh.
Yeah.
Okay. These are really good. Like, this would make a nice little, like, potpourri sachet almost.
Yeah, so that's nice.
Oh, see, yours is very, like, it's got a lot of top notes. Mine is very lemony. Like, I'm just getting straight lemongrass and a little clove.
But they do smell different.
Yeah.
Like, we use a lot of the same stuff, but they do smell different.
It's cool how you can have, like the same, I think it's because, like, depending on what you put in, it's, like, the same thing, but each person can put in the same, like, different amounts of the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, there's a really cool place out my way that we should go to sometime that lets you custom blend your own candles and lotions, and they've got like a whole wall of different scents, all different essential oils, and what you do is that you pick out all the ones you want to use, and then you sit at the bar and they give you the bottles, and you they'll say, okay, you need this much for this item, and then you pour in all the scents, however much of each one you like, and it makes this custom blend, and then you put it in your candle. Or I made a lotion, and my lotion smelled amazing. I did patchouli and roses and bergamot.
Oh.
And it smells so good. I use it every night before I go to bed.
Actually gonna try to like work it in so it's like inside the stuffing.
Try to put it in between like the stuffing and the wall. Yep, there we go. Yep, I got it.
Okay.
Okay,
And
we're stuffing.
And then fill the rest up.
Stuff your pillow. Stuff it till it's soft. So that at the top. We could sell these at like a craft market.
We could.
What are you?
We would definitely need to get a lot more herbs.
Yeah, like I said, we would need to like break into the commercial herb buying at that point. Here we go.
This was, I think, a pretty good spread.
Yeah. And we could have them labeled then at that point, like, you know, for sweet dreams, for romantic.
We'd have to really refine our own recipes instead of just copying the book.
We could also do more research into like tons of different herbs and stuff too.
I think it would also be funny to make nightmare pillows.
I honestly think that would be really humorous.
Yeah. How do we think? I think this is pretty good.
See, I'm stuffing it like super firm.
Oh, mine a little squishy.
Okay, well. Definitely a blessed craft.
Yeah, this time.
It was definitely not cursed. This was very good. Big fan. We'll make, 10 out of 10. We'll make more.
They're very nice.
I pinched myself. And they smell. You can smell them.
Mm-hmm. Well, whether or not they affect your dreams or not, that's a different story.
We will have to report back
However,
on that.
Yeah.
At the very least, I don't feel like it's going to murder me in my sleep.
No, it doesn't look like a potato.
It does not look like it's going to kill me. Yeah, like, and then you just stuff it inside your pillowcase and sleep on it. And
there we go.
yeah, so thank you for joining us for this edition of
Blessed Crafting and chit-chatting
about, random gothic
stuff,
tropes and movies and things and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, all right.
All right.
In that, on that note, we will, or stay haunted, and we will see you next time.